So how do you choose your bonsai potting mix? When we are growing and forming, making bonsais, we just need that plant, that potted plant, to be as healthy as it could. We not only need to keep it alive, okay, so we need that plant to be very, very healthy, because we do a lot of pruning operations, we wire, we repot, and we need that tree to be as healthy as it can. And how do we keep a bonsai very, very healthy? Of course, with what we are putting in the pot. In the pot, there's the roots, okay? The roots are the main processor, the heart and the soul of the tree. If the roots are happy and healthy, the tree will be happy and healthy. A high quality bonsai potting mix needs to have three main characteristics: good drainage, good aeration, and high or good water retention. So first of all, we need good drainage. The bonsai pots will also help us because of these very, very big holes. Good bonsai pots have big holes at the bottom. We need good drainage because we water our pots thoroughly and the water needs to get out of the pot. And the soil, the substrate, needs only to maintain its moisture. It needs to be humid but not wet. Second of all, we need the high aeration. So just like the crown of the bonsai, of the tree, takes in CO2 and gives out oxygen, that's the reason we can live on planet Earth, because we have oxygen, and the oxygen is produced by trees. So just like the leaves take in CO2 and give out oxygen, the roots do just the opposite. Always remember that the roots of a bonsai, the roots of a tree, are a mirror of what's here, are a mirror of the crown. So the roots do just the opposite. They take in oxygen and they give out, okay, then they exhale, let's say, CO2. So that's why we need a good aeration, because the CO2 needs to get out of the pot. And third, but not least, the good water retention. Our potting mix, bonsai potting mix, needs to have high water retention, because again, we are using small pots. Don't look at this tree in particular, it's just an example. Okay, we can have very big pots, but in comparison with the tree itself that is potted there, they are still small pots. And that's why we need our bonsai potting mix to be water retentive, to keep the roots moist until we water again. There are two main categories of bonsai substrate. There are organic substrates and inorganic substrates. Organic substrates represent something that was at some point alive. It's peat moss or dried up sphagnum moss. These are the two well-known and high quality organic materials for our bonsai potting soils. Second of all, there are inorganic soils, like there's Akadama, there's Kanuma, there's pumice, there's volcanic lava, there is Kyodama, there's a lot of them. These inorganic soils represent something like a rock. Think of it like a rock, something that was never alive. Keep in mind that there is no perfect solution for this little procedure. There is no perfect recipe for a bonsai substrate mix, because there are a lot of factors to take into consideration. It's the stage of your tree, okay? The stage of development, where it's at, where is your tree at, the size of the pot, how big the tree is, how old the tree is, how is your climate, where do you grow them. There's a lot of things. It's a tropical bonsai, it's a subtropical, it's a deciduous, it's a coniferous. So there are so many things that you need to take into consideration. and there cannot be just a universal potting mix for bonsais. So let's break it down. Let's break it down to three key and main ingredients, and those are volcanic lava. This is a great ingredient. It provides aeration and it provides very good drainage. It also doesn't break up easily. The second ingredient that we're gonna use today is Akadama. Akadama is one of the most high quality bonsai soils that you can ever get. It provides drainage, it provides aeration, and it also has the capacity to retain a lot of water. And the third ingredient will be clays. This is a fired up clay. This is one of the best, because if the first two, the volcanic lava and the Akadama, are just inert, they're just rocks, this clay, this fired up clay, it's clay, okay? Clays are somehow alive. They're not just inert, and they're very, very, very good. I don't know how many of you know, but when we take pills, when we have a stomach ache, those pills contain clays. So now I have a good base of understanding about the, let's not say the best, but a good balanced potting mix. I now don't need to care about good aeration because I have that. I don't need to care about good drainage because I have that. All I need to care about is good water retention. I now need to do just that to make a more water retentive soil or less water retentive soil. So the first thing I'm going to think about is what kind of tree do I need to repot. So if I have, this is a Japanese maple. Japanese maples needs a lot of water retention because the weather in Japan, it's pretty wet. So I'm gonna put more Akadama. I'm not gonna put them in equal amounts, okay? I'm gonna put more Akadama. Akadama is one of the most water retentive soils, so I'm gonna put more Akadama into my bonsai potting mix. If I have, let's say, a little jade, this is a little jade tree, it grows in Africa. In Africa, everything is very, very, very dry. This is also a succulent. Succulents have small roots and they store their water into branches, into the trunk and into the leaves. So this plant needs to be more on the dry side. So I'm gonna use way less Akadama. So you've took the species of the tree into consideration. Okay, that's step one. Step two is the climate in which they actually grow. Okay, so indoors there's a lot drier than outdoors. In some countries in Europe or even parts of the US, you have places that are drier, places that are wetter. You have to take that also into consideration and add a little more Akadama or put a little less Akadama. The third thing you need to worry about is the size of the pot. These pots, being so small, they need a lot more water retention than a way bigger pot. So bigger pots retain water, of course, by the sheer volume of bonsai potting mix. They retain the same amount of water but for longer. The fourth thing, and by all means not the least, is the stage of development in which your tree is at the moment. If your tree is in an early stage of development, you have to help it. You have to put some organic into the potting mix. The earlier the stage of development that your bonsai is in, you have to add more organic substrate. So this is how you do your bonsai potting mix. I know it's complicated, but it is what it is if you want to grow high quality bonsais. Also, you need to understand that you need to test the potting mixes year after year, because even though you make a good potting mix this year, let's say you repot the tree, maybe you are seeing some lacks, it lacks something. Maybe in the summer I have to water the tree like 3 times a day. That's too much. That means I need to have more water retention into my potting mix. So next year I will come in and put more Akadama, let's say, or a little more organic substrate there. So you need to test it out year after year, and then maybe then you can find the perfect potting mix for your bonsai.